What's up guys, I'm Dan from The New Travel, and today we're going to be talking about how to use a gimbal. Specifically, I'm going to be sharing the 5 stages that anyone goes through when they first get a gimbal. And this is a subject that I can speak very well about because I just got my first gimbal. This bad boy was sent to me by Tech. It's called the AK2000. And it is, I believe it's the second largest gimbal in their setup. There's also an AK4000. Just so you guys know, this was sent to me for free by Tech, but they have no requirements in what I have to do or say or whatever. In fact, this isn't even so much a review about Tech, but this is a review of the process of owning a gimbal in general. Starting with stage 1. Stage 1 of owning a gimbal is the confusion stage. When you first pick one of these up, you will immediately see how wonky and unbalanced everything is because there's no camera on it. And if you're like me, it will like confuse and even scare you a little bit. You'll be like, I'm not putting my camera on this. Like, what is this? What's this weird fish-like movement that it's making? It's like any new piece of tech that's complex. It's gonna take time to learn how it works. In fact, in many ways, it reminded me of when I first got my DSLR camera. I remember carrying it, and it was like carrying a baby for the first time. Like, I was afraid to drop it. You're really uncertain about everything. And you're definitely gonna feel that way when you get a gimbal. But don't worry, that will pass, because pretty soon you're gonna be at stage 2. Hey, here we go. Here we go. Isn't that crazy? I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. No, seriously though, this is pretty cool. Ooh. All right, so getting to the balance stage took me about 45 minutes to an hour. And this stage was spent watching tutorials about how to balance my gimbal. Oh, actually I'm watching Funniest Seinfeld Moments Part 2. But I'll watch the gimbal videos after this. I promise. And also just playing a bit with the settings, because there is a lot of customization that you can do in the Tech, and I assume in any gimbal that you're gonna buy. See, this is just using this little joystick. There's like different modes for what the joystick does. So here's like a swooping up and down. Let's try this out. Up and over and down. Here's how that looks from the gimbal. Up and over and down. So yeah, there's definitely a ton of settings in here to play around with. I haven't even figured all of them out yet, but that was what I did before getting to stage 2, balance. And once you're balanced, that's when you have a new toy to play with. That's when you get really excited about owning a gimbal. And once you're all balanced and set up, you are quickly on your way to stage number 3. Using a gimbal is easy. My first couple days with the gimbal, I did some test shots just on my balcony. And using a gimbal for the first time, it's like riding in a new car for the first time. Like, even if you're not riding anywhere particularly exciting, you are excited because that feeling is so exciting. So I was just messing around, trying all these different moves and stuff. And every once in a while, one of them would come out really cool. And I was thinking, okay, like, all these people online with all these super smooth shots, this isn't hard, I can do this. And then you try to get more specific with one of your moves, and you quickly move on to stage number 4. Using a gimbal is hard. Very hard. And this gets at the root of like being intentional with your shots, right? Anyone with a camera or a gimbal or any piece of tech can use it and like point it at a bunch of different things, and every once in a while you're gonna get some cool footage and you can throw that on Instagram, get a bunch of likes and feel good about stuff. But that doesn't really mean you know how to use a gimbal, because properly learning how to use a gimbal means learning how to make it do precisely what you want to do. learning how to use it to do like nice, smooth push-in shots, nice, smooth pull-aways, using how to, I mean, you can customize the knob so that it will be changing the height of the camera itself as you're doing the push-in, pull-aways. And to be honest, like when I realized I wasn't that good at using a gimbal is when I started to try and do these very kind of like intentional shots, and they just looked kind of robotic. And that's nothing about the gimbal, that's about me. Any experienced person with a gimbal will tell you that you need time to practice how to walk. I've heard it referred to as a ninja walk, and that's basically like you want your steps to be like as, well, you get the idea, right? You want to be like a ninja. You want to be like someone who's breaking into someone's house. Don't break into my house. But you want to be like, you don't want to feel the movement of every step, right? You want to be as steady as possible. Because yes, this will make the footage steady, but there's levels to this, right? It will make it more steady than handheld. But when you combine the steadiness of the gimbal with a camera that's stabilized, with the ninja steps, that's when you get those super epic smooth shots that you've probably seen online before. So by stage 4, you should have a good understanding of how your gimbal works. And in addition to that, just put in the time, put in the hours to make mistakes with your gimbal and learn how it works better. And in some ways, stage 4 is the most important of all because, you know, you started at the bottom. Let's say this is your journey from like 0 to hero. You started at the bottom and then you started to go up and then you hit this rough patch. And that rough patch is when a lot of people quit. Not just in gimbals, but with any new hobby or thing they're trying to work on. It's like it starts to get difficult and then people just want to quit. They want to blame the tech and say, oh, I need another gimbal. This one's no good. No, it's not the gimbal. It's you. You need to put in the effort. You need to put in the time to get to stage 5. And for me, stage 5 would, like, you can call it the hero stage. You can call it mastering the gimbal. I'm definitely not at the stage of mastering my gimbal, but for me, stage 5 is being at the point where you can comfortably use this in a professional shoot. And conveniently enough, I'm here in Calgary right now, and I thought this would be a great chance to test out the Feotech AK2000 for the first time in the field. So you guys, like, let's go. We're gonna experience stage 5 together, and hopefully I don't fail too bad. Let's go. Gimbal time. Alright guys, Future Dan here. I'm a little bit sick, so please excuse my sniffling. But I'm just making this video right now and I'm looking over the footage. And overall, I think it turned out okay. You know, there's some parts of it that I like, there's some parts of it I don't like. But I think clearly the most cinematic shot was, and that's the kind of shot that I could never get without a gimbal, just handheld like this. It would be too bouncy. I'd never be able to get that footage. And in fact, the moment that I ended with the guys on the scooters, funny story, as I was filming this, these kids were riding around on scooters and I saw one of them kind of crash and then they kept going and I thought, okay, they're gonna crash again. These guys are crazy. So I started to film it, and as it happened, obviously I captured this footage, but because it was like something that was just happening very quickly, I was kind of too scared to move my camera. So you'll notice that the shot itself is it's stationary. I'm just holding it in place. And that's because I'm still not quite confident enough with my gimbal to get the moves right every single time. So if I tried to do a slight pan to the right, it would have looked more cinematic, but maybe I would have had it set up wrong and I would have messed something up. So at my stage with the gimbal, I'm definitely still at level 4. because I'm not quite confident enough to get the shot every single time. Clearly, now that I've looked at this footage, I know what I should do more of next time. More of those gentle push shots, like through the center of the bridge. You know, less standing in one place, and more of the ninja step, more of the, you know, gently walking and letting some object move past. But yeah, I hope this has shown you guys that even if you're not a pro with a gimbal, you can still get some pretty cool footage. Anyway, thanks again to Phaotech for sending me this gimbal. Again, I didn't want to make a full review about this thing because it is my first gimbal and I have no points of comparison. But I can definitely tell you that it feels well built, it feels sturdy, and I never worry about my camera being on it, which, I'm not gonna lie, when I was at stage 2 balancing, I was like, is this thing really gonna hold my camera? But as soon as you've read the manual and you've got it all set up, that worry is quickly behind you. And if there's anyone else down there who has their own gimbal, who's like on their own journey of mastering a gimbal, let me know what you think of my 5 stages, and let me know what stage you are on. Hopefully you've moved past stage 1, because that would be bad if you were just stuck in the confusion stage. All right guys, as always, I'm Dan from The New Travel. I'll see you next time.